Good evening. Welcome to the AI Learning Lab. How's everybody doing tonight? I just re-glued my hair because I forgot to put glue in it this morning. So this is newly glued, so hopefully it survives the live. Hey, Tobias, what's happening? Well, shaking. I'm a little late because I was having a feverish race at Monza, doing a little sim racing before I came live. Welcome everybody to the AI Learning Lab. We'll wait for people to get in. If you're new here, go check out ChatGPT if you haven't done that yet. Looks like we got some regulars in here. Welcome, Bob. How are you? All right. What day is today? Wednesday. Middle of the week. Did I have a good day today? Had a pretty good day yesterday. It was like crappy Monday, good Tuesday, and today. I got a little cranky dealing with insurance. That was fun. Insurance is swell. It's awesome. What are you drinking? I got iced coffee, iced Java, and I've got lovely filtered water straight from the old fridge door. Oh, it's actually half. At work, we've got seltzer on tap. And this week it's been coconut, which is not my favorite. So it's half coconut seltzer and half water. So it's like a little yeah. But we hydrate. Silver Fox was shaking. What's happening? Lauren, hello. What's going down? All right, come on, TikTok. Let people know we're here. We're getting ready to go on the internets. We're going to talk about AI. If you're new here, we talk about AI. You can pop questions down below. Ramble on. I'll talk about these things here in a second. As soon as we get some audience. Hello. Good day. Good day to you, sir. Good day indeed. Let's see. Here's my logo from my company. Isn't that fun? All right, now we got some folks coming in. I just had to start acting like an idiot, and that would bring the folks flying on in. Just flicking by like, the hell's this old guy doing? Huh? What is he doing? He's an odd man. He's rather odd. Why is it called the AI Learning Lab? Why? Why do we inquire about actual intelligence? Isn't that what's expected? All right. So, welcome everybody. My name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. A little bit about my background. I'm an entrepreneur of many times. I am officially unhireable at this point. But they let me on TikTok. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Storyvine, which is an automated video storytelling platform. We've been around for 11 years. We figured out how to automate video editing without using AI. Huh? That's clever. And then, and now we're rolling a bunch of AI into the platform. We're actually leaving Sunday for New York to go meet with one of our big pharma clients, talk about some of that stuff. So that's exciting. And what else? I was an entrepreneur back in the early days of the World Wide Web. I was a co-founder of a company called Agency.com, one of the early digital agencies. And this here AI stuff is feeling very reminiscent to the early days of the web. It's feeling significantly more profound, and it's coming a lot faster. But boy, does it feel familiar. A lot of people poo-pooing it. A lot of people not quite understanding why it's such a big deal. And, you know, a relative handful of people that are like, holy shit, this is going to change everything. That's where we are. And so that's what this channel's about. Talk about, you know, these tools and why you should use them. And you know, even if you don't use them, why you should at least get curious about them and understand how they work and what they might possibly do. Because even though these things are super powerful, they're the worst they're ever going to be right now. The power of these things is going up exponentially. So with that, let me talk about Okay, so feel free to screenshot this. Are all the letters there? There you go. Feel free to screenshot that. So there's 7 sites here. The AI Learning Lab -TT, that's our YouTube channel. I'm putting the recordings of these lives there and doing descriptions and shit like that using AI, actually. It's kind of an interesting experiment. Okay, if you're new to generative AI, if you've not played with ChatGPT, go there. That's the official ChatGPT website, chat.openai.com. All the other things are kind of variations. If you've gone there and played with it and you want to start to figure out, what tools are good at what things, these are all different variations of ChatGPT or competitors of ChatGPT. So you got Bing, which is GPT-4 connected to the internet. You got Claude, which is a bunch of ex-OpenAI people, ex-ChatGPT people, with their competitor. Claude is really interesting because you can put about 70,000 words in a prompt and it can still process it. So you could put an entire novel, just paste it into a prompt in Claude, or upload a big PDF or 5 PDFs and go do that. Then you got Bard, which is Google's entry into this space that has been laughably bad for most of the year, but all of a sudden in the past month got decent. Then you got labs.perplexity.ai. That's Perplexity giving us all free access to Meta's Llama 2 models for free. That's what that is. Then you got Pi, which is from a company called Inflection. It's super conversational. Not super useful, but if you want to talk with an AI and kind of chat with it, you can do that with your voice on the app. It's really interesting. And then Poe is about Poe is, you can play with multiple models here, and they've got a bot maker. You can play with bots. Penny's point of view. What was the first one again? Well, the first one here, chat.openai.com. That's the official ChatGPT website. So for free, you get to play with GPT 3.5. If you pay $20 a month, you get access to GPT-4, code interpreter, plugins, and a thing called custom instructions. Of all these, this one's the best. ChatGPT is still the best. There's a lot of people getting close, but in terms of just solid delivering the goods, GPT-4 from OpenAI is really, really solid. Hello, Tyrant Truth. How are you? All right. If you have questions about AI or comments or thoughts or want me to wax poetic about something or want to troll me, if you're going to troll me, at least be creative with it. Ideally a troll in the AI Learning Lab seems like a compliment on the surface and then kind of stings deep down. It stays with you. David Gould, thank you for the worlds. I so appreciate that. You're awesome. You've been here multiple times now, and I very much appreciate your participation. It means a lot. All right. If you have questions, pop them in the comments below. Feel free to share the live if we want to get more people in here. I see people hitting the heart buttons. Dana, thank you for the ruse. A ruse. I love a ruse. A good ruse. Wow, 100 worlds. A world by any other name would be as round. Oh, I'm an ex-actor. In case that wasn't painfully obvious. All right. So, what is the future of AI for predicting financial stock investing? Well, I mean, Newmarks. If you're into investing in any way, then you know more than I do. The thing about AI and generative AI and machine learning and AI have been around for decades, and machine learning and AI algorithms have been in trading platforms for a long, long time, right? So it's already in there. Now, if you want to try to game the system and play with it and use AI to come up with all sorts of wacky strategies or write bots and things like that, you can absolutely do that. So if you go to your favorite trading platform, get the code from their bots, you can go to chat.openai.com, literally paste the code in there, tell it to explain to you what that bot does, and then maybe have it suggest ways to improve it or other options, and maybe you can combine 2 different strategies into a single bot. There's all sorts of things you could do. I don't know much about that world at all, but Lots and lots of stuff you can play with. If you're new to that world, you can go to these things and get a full-on education within 10 or 15 minutes. Tell it to educate you about the different trading styles and all sorts of stuff like that. It'll do that. And then, So yes, you can play with that. No, I don't know anything about it. One thing that I will point you to, the third little hyperlink here, futurepedia.io, is a list of like 4,000 AI tools. I know there are financial tools within there, so they're probably AI-powered trading platforms or AI-powered tools in futurepedia.io. So go there and see if you can find anything. But I think the future of AI-powered agents doing all sorts of things, including investing, it's going to be a big thing. I just found the tutorials. Hey, I found some tutorials on my Works Skillsoft for ChatGPT. Oh, that's interesting. I'm curious if you work at a big company or a small company. And I'm also curious, what's the attitude of ChatGPT within the organization? It's what I'm hearing a lot of is people are loving it and using it for personal productivity, and companies are just now starting to scratch the surface of, I think we got to learn this stuff, and we're starting to get into it. So pretty interesting what's happening right now. What the hell just happened to my screen? Hold, please, hold. Oh, I see what I did. All right, there we go. Okay. And by the way, Penny, have you played with ChatGPT yet? I'm just curious. I'm curious what the Skillsoft thing is. What are they actually teaching there? I assume basic prompting. Microsoft Edge has AI that's pretty good. What do they use? They use GPT-4. So Bing.com, the one second down there, is from Microsoft, and Bing Chat is GPT-4. Microsoft invested $10 billion in OpenAI, so that's the top company there, and they also invested a good chunk of money in Inflection, which is Pi.com, and then when Meta released their Llama 2 models, they said Microsoft was also some sort of investor there. So Microsoft has got their hands in a number of these. But the Microsoft Edge AI is GPT-4. It's pretty good. It's connected to the internet. And you can also, I don't know if you know this, but you can generate images in it. If you tell it to make you an image of anything, it'll just go do that. It'll make you 4, actually. The quality of the images in Bing isn't great, but hey, it's free, so it's pretty good. Talk about Llama. Okay, so labs.perplexity.com. Why I have that there, so the Llama 2 models are from Meta. So Meta, about 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, released these large language models called Llama. And what was significant about it was they released what are called the weights. So it's basically the secret sauce behind like how they actually work and how they're actually trained. OpenAI hasn't done that. Claude hasn't done that. Google hasn't done that. Pi hasn't done that. No one's done that. But Meta did. Meta said, here you go. But they said, this is just for research purposes only. And then about 3 weeks ago, they released Llama 2. And they released three of 4 models. The 7 billion parameter, the 13 billion parameter, the 70 billion parameter. The 40 billion parameter didn't pass red teaming, whatever kind of testing they do before release. That one failed. So they released those 3, 7, 13, and 70. And the big deal about them is with a commercial license. So the only restriction on the commercial license was you don't have to pay them any royalties or anything. You can go install the Llama models on your local machine. If you have a machine that can run them, you can just install it locally. You can use GPT for All as a project where you can install different large language models, so you can pop it right in there. I'm on an M1 MacBook Pro here, so I can run it. I really haven't because I'm fine using these other ones for now. But because they're commercially licensable, you can sort of spin up your own large language model, build your own chat GPT or build your own specialized fine-tuned model because you have the core large language model. So the way these things work, we've heard of chat GPT. Sitting underneath ChatGPT is the large language model called GPT-4. So ChatGPT is up here. It's an application layer, and it's doing API calls down to the core large language model. So that's what a lot of these things are doing. They've got a friendly interface that you can interact with the large language model with. The Llama ones are just that base large language model. You can do anything you want with them, and the restriction is you can't have more than 700 million customers. So that's basically their big competitors is the ones that they're trying to hobble, but no one else. And I think it's an interesting model because if Meta can get a lot of people using their free large language models and building applications on them, well, then at some point they can roll out a really powerful large language model. And there's going to be all this infrastructure that's built that might be able to leverage that, and maybe that when they sell, or maybe it keeps them relevant when all this new, exciting, shiny shit is going on, and they kind of have egg on their face from changing their name to essentially a gaming platform that no one used. So Meta's staying in the game. But it's pretty impressive what they did, and it's pretty impressive that they did it. And I think one of the things that it does for all of us is it ensures that these large language models, they're not going anywhere. If you haven't been to the channel before, this list, the reason I put this list up here, these are things that I think are worth. These are in my humble opinion, it's worth your time, spending at least some amount of time on these to understand what they're good at, what they're not. If you're brand new, just go to ChatGPT, the top one. But all of them are interesting. 3 weeks ago, there were only three on this list. Now there's 7. So the competition is accelerating. Apple's coming. Tim Cook said today that they have spent the bulk of their $21 billion in research funding on generative AI. The entire market cap of OpenAI is about the same. So Apple's been spending billions on generative AI. They're going to come out swinging. And apparently they're testing something called Apple GPT within the ranks. And I think they're going to come out swinging. They've got their iPhone 15 announcement, September, whatever that is. If they don't announce there, it's possible they announce something with AI there. But if not, it will probably be the Worldwide Developers Conference. I think they have a minor announcement in December, but their Worldwide Developer Conference next June. If they don't do something big in the next couple of quarters, it'll be June of next year, and I bet they come out swinging. And we also have yet to hear from Elon Musk in the X.AI company. That's got some intrigue. What are they doing? The goal of his AI is to understand the universe. So what's that going to do? I don't know. But hopefully we get it. Any others coming close to ChatGPT for Excel VBA coding? I don't think so, but I would try Bard. Bard's apparently pretty good at coding. I've heard, I haven't played with it. I've heard that the Llama 13B model, the 13 billion parameter model, is good at coding, but I don't know. I would assume not. If you look at, there were some specs that were released about ChatGPT, and it's got like 1.8 trillion parameters. It's 12 different expertise models. They call it it's MOE, something of expertise, modes of expertise. That's not it, but it's something like that. But basically, when you ask GPT-4 a question, it chooses one of 12 more focused models, and it uses that. So it's not just one massive model. It's this really complicated system, which is pretty fascinating. Wes Nardi, thank you for the rose. Thank you for the rose. I like the rose. Roses are sweet. You know, you can smell them, but then if you get too close, tunk, it'll poke you right in the nose. Thanks for the rose. All right, let's see. Emilio's wife's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Is TikTok letting you know I'm around? TikTok's been hiding me from you. Wow, howdy. Yeah. Don't you think they should let those hats on a little longer? Seems a little cheap. Thanks for the rose. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Seems a little cheap. I could go for a hat a little longer than, what is it, a second and a half? Action Transformers. Action Transformers. Yes, Action Transformers are going to be amazing. They're not out yet, but those are the ones that are taking action. They basically they take over your keyboard and mouse and learn how to do shit for you. I think Paul Reitzer from Marketing AI Institute did a whole piece on Action Transformers called World of Bits. I think that's the same thing. Action Transformers for actions, yeah. So if you go to, let's look up World of Bits. Let's see, World of Bits, Paul. Yeah, so if you search for World of Bits, Paul, it's Paul Reitzer. It's the Marketing AI Institute /blog/World of Bits with dashes between it. This is something, when did he do this? This was February 18th. Yeah, this was like 6 months ago. So what this talks about is all the companies and some of the technology that's coming that's going to learn how to use your machines on your behalf. So you'll give an agent a goal, like go book me a trip, and I don't want it to cost a fortune, and I want it to be somewhere like Costa Rica, but not Costa Rica, and I want it to be at a good time of year, and I want to be able to shoot BB guns at balloons. And then it will go off and search for all that shit, and it'll book it on your behalf, and it'll come back and go, here you go. And then you'll be like, oh, that's cool. No, you did it completely wrong. I hate it all. Go start over. Okay. Ba-da-da-da-da. So we're not too far from a world where we all get our own, little assistant that's going to go do all this crap for us. But we gotta earn the right to go there. And how do you earn the right to go there? You get curious about this stuff. Start playing with this stuff. Start learning it. There's this thing called prompts.chat. If you're brand new to ChatGPT and you're just like, you've got kind of like prompting block where you're like, I don't know what to ask it. I don't know what to do. Go to prompts.chat. It'll teach you how to prompt it. And it will teach you ways that you can tell ChatGPT to behave like a certain persona. And it's pretty slick. So that'll help. So hang on. I had a watch on and it was itchy. I just had to take it off. All right. My top 3 AI. Well, good question. The top two of these things that I use, ChatGPT, GPT-4 here, and Code Interpreter here, are by far the best. Code Interpreter is absolutely insane, but just for basic writing, getting shit done, GPT-4 at OpenAI is amazing. Claude is my number 2. The writing it does is pretty good. It's not GPT-4 level, but it's got 100,000 token context window, so you can put in like 75,000 words. The other one that I use pretty consistently is Midjourney to create images. So these are kind of my two go-to word things, and then Midjourney is my image thing. I'll use other things occasionally, but Midjourney's the one that's just sort of top-notch. Stable Diffusion's getting close, and Stable Diffusion is way more, there's way more features, and there's way more projects that use Stable Diffusion which is great because the developer community is just pouncing all over it because it's open source. The problem with it is you have to be a geek to use it right now. So what I recommend, if you're not a geek and want to play with Stable Diffusion, Leonardo.ai is a web interface to Stable Diffusion. They give you like 150 credits a day, which I think it comes out to like, I don't know, 5 or 7 or 10 images a day. So if you're just kind of low volume dicking around, Leonardo.ai is free and easy. Midjourney's like $10 a month. Adobe Firefly requires a Adobe Creative Suite license. The good thing about Adobe Firefly is that it's not trained on anything commercial, like any copywritten work. So you can use it for corporate stuff without having to worry too much about it. So those are my top three: ChatGPT, Claude, Midjourney. And then the bonus one I'll throw in is Zapier for automations. So using Zapier to automate calling OpenAI is very, very powerful. So that would be a fourth one I'd throw in there. And those are essentially ChatGPT I pay for, Midjourney I pay for Zapier, I pay for Google Colab if I want to play around with Stable Diffusion. I think those are the only ones I'm paying for right now. It's not true. There's some things that I subscribe to that I just have been too lazy or ADD like to unsubscribe from, but I'm actively paying for the ones that I talked about. All right, should my clients be concerned about using Midjourney created images in their company's literature? There is some risk there, but I think it's relatively low. Here's what I would say: if you're using artists' names in your prompt, that's definitely riskier than if you just tell it to make a style that looks like what you want it to look like. So I would say avoid using Greg Rutkowski, right? Avoid using anyone whose copyrights are still live, their names in the prompt. So, make it look like this artist. I would avoid that. Now, if it's artists that have been dead for a long time, then that's fine. But anyone who's got an active copyright in the thing is an issue. I think it's going to be almost impossible for individual artists to look at a piece of art and say, what percentage of my works, was synthesized in this kind of random noise way that these tools work into that image. But that said, some estates like Keith Haring's estate is very, very aggressive, and they sue the shit out of people all the time just because the artwork looks like something Keith Haring did. So in America, anyone can sue anyone for anything. So while the risk is there, I'd say so long as you're not using other artists' names and not doing things that are blatantly copying kind of known copywritten works, then you're probably fine. I think what's more likely to happen is that companies like OpenAI that have relationships with companies like Microsoft, they've got big ass lawyer teams and big ass budgets to deal with cutting deals with, like they just cut a deal with Shutterstock. OpenAI just cut a deal with Shutterstock. So I think big companies like OpenAI and Microsoft, they're going to cut deals, right? So while they may be sued, and they are being sued, they're likely going to settle a lot of those lawsuits by cutting deals. Midjourney are a bunch of cowboys, right? If you see interviews with the CEO of Midjourney, John Oliver did a thing on AI, and they interview the CEO of Midjourney, and he just comes across as a douche. He just comes across like, yeah, fuck it, yeah, it's people's copywritten work, but whatever. Like he's totally flipping. You get them sued into oblivion, right? So I think the bigger risk with Midjourney is probably just they get caught up in lawsuits and they kind of go away, and it's not available. So I would learn other tools. If you're really concerned about that, start learning the Adobe Firefly stuff and the generative fill within Photoshop, because while it's not anywhere close to what Midjourney is right now, it's going to get better and better. And Adobe is making it commercial safe, right? They're making it so that artists can opt out of being trained. They're making it so that artists can opt into being trained and get attribution and compensation. And like Adobe's got their shit together. So, and by the way, he's got to get it approved by his PR person, but I've got John Knack, who's one of the senior guys at Adobe in their AI group, is coming to speak to the AI Salon next Tuesday. So if you want to join a community of, I don't know, we call ourselves AI adventurers, right? People that are choosing to be on this journey and sort of figure this shit out. That's what the AI Salon's about. We meet every other week, and we have an online Discord server. You can play and ask questions. We have a LinkedIn group. So just go to the salon.ai and you can see the info there. It's free. It's not a pitch. If I'm ever pitching you shit, I'll say, all right, get out the fucking wallets. Let's go. But none of this is that right now. All right. Skype has Bing Chat now. Yep. AI is racist. Well, AI is biased. Different models are going to have different biases, and all of them have all sorts of safety guardrails in them. The safety guardrails for things like OpenAI are using human reinforcement learning, where wherever you've got humans going thumbs up, thumbs down, there's bias in that. If you're curious about how we get to models that are less biased, go check out Claude, because that's a company called Anthropic, and they use what's called the constitutional learning model, where they set a set of imperatives like do no harm, increase prosperity, don't be evil, whatever those are. And then when it generates its answers, those answers are weighted against the Constitution. So it's all the system. It's not people in there judging whether this is good or not. So you can go look at those rules, and then the content that's generated is essentially filtered through those rules. That model, in my opinion, is how we navigate through this jungle of bias. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for the little gummy bear, a little gummy. I live in Denver, so the gummies here have a different effect. Here's the thing about bias is that there is no unbiased model. Every model is going to have some amount of bias in it. And quite frankly, all of these things are trained on most of the public internet. Well, what's most of the public internet? It's a biased cesspool of shit, right? With some occasional brilliance sprinkled in. So what these things really are is a reflection of who we already are. So there's that. And listen, to be clear, what's on the public internet is in and of itself biased because who's got more access and who's had access for longer and things like that. So I get all that. But where I think we'll go in the future is you take a model like Claude, Anthropic's constitutional learning model, you make those models transparent, and then we as individuals will be able to say, I get to choose my own model, and I get to figure out with these little sliders where my comfort is in terms of bias, right? And so I might slide it away from white and, toward, liberal or conservative. I might slide it here and there, and it'll recommend models that are, more like me. So yes, AI is biased, and yes, all of these folks are aware of it. And because you've got things like Llama 2, which is now open source and out there. It's not really open source. It's freely available and commercially licensed, but you've got all the weights. Go fine tune the shit out of Llama to be whatever you want it to be. Make it a non-white biased thing. You can go do that now. When it was stuck behind the firewall at OpenAI or at Google, we couldn't do that, right? We're just relying on Sam Altman to be a good guy and go, yeah, I know that's biased and I'm going to fix that. Okay. Well, now you got Llama 2. Go make your own. I'm certified in Excel and program in VBA. GPT is fantastic for VBA. Yep, it's good. So what's fascinating is these things are called large language models. So are humans, right? We're large language models. So they kind of behave like we do in some sense. One of the fascinating things I heard about OpenAI's training is when they did GPT-3, they trained it up on all the sort of words of the internet that they could find, all these data sources, right? And it was pretty good. It was pretty good. And then they said, hey, you know what would also be good, since it understands, language and semantic grouping so well, is it might understand computer logic. So why don't we train one up on computer program? Why don't we fine tune this thing on programming computer languages? And it got really good at that. And then I guess they kind of rolled these things together, or maybe they fine tuned it on the core model. But they trained it on language, and then they trained it on computer languages, programming. And what ended up happening was the quality of the language part went up dramatically once they got it to understand programming. And it kind of makes sense because, within programming, you've got structure and you've got syntax and you've got, logical connections. Well, that's how language works, right? It's just not as explicit. Programming, you've got all of these brackets and things that tell you how to group things and how to think about things. But the English language works exactly the same, right? It's similar to how we think. So the quality of the model went up dramatically when they added programming inside it. So that's why it's so good at programming. And GPT-4 is significantly better than any of the rest of these. I hear that Bard's pretty good at programming. And I hear that Llama 2, the 13 billion parameter model, is good at programming for Llama 2. But to be clear, I haven't really played with Llama 2 all that much, so I don't know. My company has an internal ChatGPT installation, large corporation. That's super cool. Yeah, I'm doing my third workshop with a big company this Friday. It's our third and last workshop for ChatGPT, and they're blocked from using ChatGPT, but they have an instance of Microsoft, like the equivalent of GPT Playground. So they've all got access to like GPT Playground, and then they can use Bing. So they're using Bing Chat, which is like ChatGPT, and then they're using the Microsoft GPT-4 Playground within this big company. Yeah, and I think, as individuals and as companies, all of us right now are figuring out what these things make possible, how you actually incorporate it into work. Like this past week for me has been really frustrating because I've been taking things from either prototype builds to kind of a final product, a delivered product, or I'm trying to solve some more complicated thing than I've done historically. And getting the prompts dialed in can be a bear, man. It can be a nightmare. So this week's been a little bit like, I want you to be perfect, you stupid tools. And then I just keep reminding myself, it's early. We're all trying to figure this shit out. It's going to get better. So if you ever get frustrated with it, I would strongly encourage you not to give up on it. If you're brand new to it, some things you should know about these large language models. They hallucinate, and that's a programming term for it'll fucking lie to you straight to your face. I like to call it mansplaining as a service. Like a good man, it will confidently answer you, even if it's wrong. So they do that. It's not really their fault. The nature of how they work, they don't actually understand what they're saying. They're just probability engines. They kind of have the consciousness of a calculator, right? You push the buttons in a calculator like, ooh, it added. It must be thinking that. No, it's just doing probability on individual words, and then out comes something that looks really coherent. That's what makes them kind of miraculous, is that when you actually understand how they do what they do, it's more remarkable than if they were like copying and pasting big chunks of text. But because of the nature of how they work, it will give you an answer to something and you'll go, wait a minute, that fact you cited there is wrong. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. You're absolutely correct. I got that wrong. Let me try again. Here you go. You're like, no, that's wrong too. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Apologies for that. Yeah, let me try that again. Here you go. And then you're like, oh, fuck it. I'm going to go Google this. So that happens sometimes. And the important lesson there is, if you're just doing creative ideation, things like that, the hallucinations don't matter. And in fact, in some cases, the hallucinations can help. But if you're doing something like putting together a report for the boss, and the boss is going to present this to the whole company, you don't want to have citations in there that are bullshit or wrong or non-existent. And so if you're doing anything that's got any kind of credibility tied to it, make sure to do your own work. There's a fairly famous little story of a lawyer about a month ago, probably about 6 weeks ago now, had ChatGPT write a legal brief for him and turned it into a judge and didn't bother proofreading all of the case law that the opinion cited. So the judge goes, none of this case law exists. Would you like to explain? And so that lawyer had to, deal with that because, in my opinion, that was his idiotic move for not checking it. He's a lawyer. If you're a lawyer, check your work. Your top AI. That's an interesting one. I think all of these have something interesting about them. I still think for me, it's GPT-4 is still by far the best. ChatGPT-4 is still the best. And Code Interpreter, which is also it's a plugin for ChatGPT-4. Code Interpreter is fucking mind-blowing. And then Midjourney, like it's ChatGPT and Midjourney, ChatGPT and Midjourney, Midjourney for images. Those are my two. Yeah. I mean, the thing that blows me away about this is just it is so beyond my capacity to even imagine what you can use these things for. I was talking to a guy, I mentioned this on the live the other night. I was talking to a colleague that we don't work a lot together, but we know of each other's work. And he pulled me into a side conversation and he said, I've got a client that in September, they've got a 2,000 person meeting and they want to get ideas from all 2,000 people and synthesize those into the best ideas. Is that possible with AI? And he and I kicked around some ideas for about 15 minutes. And within half an hour, we had completely designed how to do that. Like full on 2,000 people contributing ideas, and over lunch being able to stack rank those into the top 10 ideas, like based on company criteria. And then we took it even farther than that. It's insane. The kinds of things that you would have had to essentially start a company around, raise millions of dollars, build a platform to be able to even begin to think about doing something that ridiculous. And in 15 minutes, we're like, yeah, we could pull that off. Why don't you go see if they'll pay for it? And then we can go build it. It's just stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid, I tell you. It's just dumb. It's just dumb, all this stuff. This AI stuff is just dumb. All right. Let's say. LLMs are inherently providing wrong information. They are not designed to be accurate. I don't know that they're inherently providing wrong information. They are inherently unaware of what information they're providing. Sometimes they provide remarkably right information. I talked about this last night. There's a doctor that used ChatGPT, and he was like, oh, I heard about this ChatGPT thing. Let me go play. And he said, let me see if it's any good at differential diagnosis. So he gave it a patient case, de-identified, of course, and it got it right. He's like, oh, that's impressive. And so he gave it kind of a harder case. He goes, this is one that's really complicated, and it got it right. And then he said, well, fuck, I wonder how far I can push this. And he took the hardest case he ever had, and he put in the differential diagnosis, or the differential, patient information, and it got it right. And he was blown away. And he said, please cite the sources that you used for that analysis. And it got all of them wrong. It made all of them up. So how did you put it? They are inherently providing wrong information. No, they're inherently providing statistically probable words in a row. That's what they're doing. A lot of times, like a surprising amount of times, like fucking batshit crazy amount of times, it gets that shit right. But because it's actually not aware of what it said, it's only aware that it's writing. It's not even aware that it's writing words. It's taking vector numbers from some massively complicated vector space, and all of those numbers are associated with a word. So it's basically just pulling numbers out of a number hat, associating those with words, and then typing them on screen. And because of that, because it doesn't go back and check its work, it's going to get shit wrong. Now, is that going to get better? It's going to get way better. So even though you're absolutely right, David, that these things are not designed to be accurate, don't discount them, because there are a lot of these companies are working on systems to deal with exactly that problem. Everyone knows that this is a big problem. And it's not a huge stretch to understand how you would fix it. You basically let it generate its answer and then have it look at it. Have another system that looks at what it wrote and go, is this right? If not, redo. Right? So conceptually, it's actually, simple to deal with. I'm sure realistically, it's probably a tragic fucking nightmare. The other thing to do, David, is use things like Bing and Bard and Pi that are connected to the internet. Because when those things do their, especially when you're looking for things that are more recent than September 2021, the cutoff of GPT-4, it'll go look on the internet, and like Microsoft Bing Chat is pretty good at including sources, and so's Bard is actually pretty good at including sources. Thoughts on Unity software? I haven't played a ton with it. Unity is one of those things that's absolutely fascinating because it makes game development available to anyone. But like a lot of those open source projects, like Stable Diffusion, and Stable Diffusion is only a few years old. Unity's been around for fucking ever. It is one of the most complicated pieces of software on the planet. Now, why am I excited? Because you throw a large language model interface on top of that complication, and then you just say things like create a world full of marbles that have this kind of gravity on them, and it's raining a torrential downpour, and it just goes and figures out which functions to call and which math to do to make all of that shit happen. That's going to be absolutely amazing. So I think the future of all development environments like that are going to be incredible. I saw a TikTok video 2 days ago where a developer has taken Google Maps data and imported it into Unreal Engine 5, and he's got basically a playable planet Earth, or like a navigatable planet Earth, where you can just walk around planet Earth with Unreal Engine 5 rendering. Like, holy fucking shit. Really? Wow. And all of these nerfs that are, if you don't know about nerfs are basically these radiance field 3D images that, I don't know, they're sort of like photogrammetry and stuff like that, but they use a completely different technology. And, people are just walking around with 360 cameras, like 3D mapping all these spaces in incredible detail. So the future, she is coming quick. I've got a lot of folks in here. Welcome, everybody. My name's Kyle Shannon. This is AI Learning Lab. This pile of URLs right here is shit I think you should go try. If you're brand new to this stuff, if you've not played with ChatGPT, go to the top one, chat.openai.com, and just start playing while you listen to me ramble or go listen to Bjork or Billie Eilish. Go play. If you don't know what to say there, if you're really like, I like literally don't know what ChatGPT is, who the fuck are you and why are you on TikTok? Then go to prompts.chat And that's a document, it's a primer that will talk to you. It will teach you what these large language models are, what prompting is, how you talk to them. So basically, how you talk to these large language models. Imagine this. Imagine you were just given a brand new intern that's there for you 24/7, but they're a real simpleton. They don't really, they need a lot of guidance. They don't know anything about you or your company. They don't know really what you want. So if you give them shitty directions, you're going to get a shitty response. But they're an idiot savant because they know everything. So if you tell them, hey, today your little internship job is, I want you to make some computer programming programs for me in Python that do the following things, or in VBA, I want you to write some really cool VBA scripts for my Excel spreadsheets. Okay, I can do that. I want a VBA script that does this. Oh, okay. Here you go. That's what they're like. And so prompts.chat will teach you how you can sort of put ChatGPT in these different personalities, for lack of a better term, these different modes. And it'll give you all sorts of ideas. And the biggest thing to get about these things is these are not just like fancy Google searches. These are full on knowledge delivery systems. And knowledge of what? Knowledge of fucking everything. You want a new workout plan? It'll give it to you. You want to combine this workout plan with that workout plan and get rid of the shitty stuff from that one and amplify the good stuff from that one? It'll do that for you. You want to write the great American novel and don't even know how to structure a story? Go ask it to give you 5 different story structure frameworks and pick the one you like best, and then give it some of your ideas, and it'll do that. All right, let's pull Sam up here. Hey,
Hi,
Sam, what's happening?
Baro.
How you doing? What's that? Oh, no, I don't want to do a match.
Baro.
All right. Ding. Dee, 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 dee. All right. Sam wanted to do a match. I don't know what match he wanted to do. I'm new to TikTok. I don't know this shit. All right. I don't know how to use perplexity accurately. Unfortunately, neither do I. So what I have up here is labs.perplexity.com. That's basically just it's just like ChatGPT, where you can pick one of the 3 models. If you go to perplexity.ai, just the standalone thing, it's kind of like a search engine. It's kind of like an AI, but it's an AI that's connected to the internet, and you can limit your searches. Like you can say limit my searches to just Wikipedia source or just that source. So it's a good research tool, but I have not used it a lot. So I'm right there with you. But in terms of how to use it for Llama, so it's just like ChatGPT, where in the bottom right hand corner, this is where you pick your model. So you've got Llama 7B, 13B, and 70B. So we'll do the 70B one, and then you can ask it anything. So you can just say, it's not letting me do speaking. Write a crappy poem that would get a D- in high school English. Sure, here's a poem. The sun sets slowly in the sky, a fiery ball of orange and red. As it sinks. So anyway, so that's how you use it. Perplexity is a whole different thing. This is just them letting us use the Llama 2 models. So that's why that's there. Wish I had a better answer for you on that one. But I don't. I don't know too much about that particular tool because I ain't used it. AI can make French cheese. Yes, AI can make French cheese. And you could go to Midjourney and make a picture of French cheese. All right. Oops. I just popped that up there again, Hair Growth Geek. I'll bring you up. I hit the wrong button. AI can make French wine. Yeah, go to ChatGPT and ask it to teach you how to make that stuff. Yes, it can. It will. Give me a good tool plugin in GPT-4 to write my academic research. Well, let's go over to ChatGPT. I'll show you what I know. What's it called? ChatGPT. Chat. Okay, so if you're new to ChatGPT, when we come here, hang on, let me get rid of that thing. So over here's our chat history. And then over here, you've got GPT 3.5, GPT 4, if you're paying for the ChatGPT Plus thing. And then within here, you've got code interpreter and you've got plugins. If you paid for ChatGPT, code interpreter, and plugins, you have to turn them on. How you do that, you go to your settings, you go to beta features, and there they are. You turn them on. Oh, that's interesting. They just pulled out custom instructions. I wonder if they killed them altogether. No. So custom instructions are now out of beta. So that used to be a beta feature, but now it's not. So that has launched custom instructions. Okay, so you got to go turn on plugins and code interpreter. This is also where Browse with Bing will come back if they ever flip and bring that back. I can't believe they haven't yet, but they haven't. Okay, so we go to plugins. This is the question is about research and how would I do research. So the way plugins work, you install however many plugins you want, and then in any given chat, you can enable up to 3. And so I've got a bunch of them here, but at the very bottom of the list, you can go to the plugin store. And so I will type in research. And how many are here? There's 24 different research plugins. So this is Unearth Precise Academic Research Effortlessly. So we'll install that. Research by Vector. This is Supercharge Your Research, Generate Accurate Citations in APA, MLA, and Harvard. So those are citations for those courses. Bibsonomy, I don't know what that is. Let's go just see a few more. I've used ML Paper Reader, so that's Machine Learning Paper Reader. And then here's another one, Next Paper AI, that's from PubMed. So I don't know what your research is on, but I just basically go through the research. Here's a science one. Search over 250 million scientific papers and research articles. Okay, so here's Scholar Assist. So here's research papers from Archive. Scholar AI, scientific research, 40 million plus peer-reviewed papers. So there's lots of them in here. So anyway, so I'll install that one. Oh no, that I got to sign up for. Some of them you have to sign up for the services behind them. But let's go turn a couple of these on. There's science. We'll turn science on. Speedy SEO marketing. X papers. And Next Paper AI. Okay, so we've got 3 of those things created. So now we'll go. Why is my microphone not working? I got to restart my machine. Okay, so we'll say, I'm going to have to type. It's going to be painful. Sorry. Please. Please what? Shut up, Siri. Dum-dum. please create a short paragraph with citations about how I can achieve room temperature superconductivity. So this won't be connected to the internet, so it won't get the LK99 stuff. But let's go see what citations it grabs. So what it should do, so it's writing our paragraph. Now it should fire off a It didn't seem to fire off any of the plugins. So it might have just made some shit up. So let me say, please, let's see. Please summarize the top 5 papers you can find with research in this area. This should fire off one of the plugins. It's using science. It might do multiple of them. Because the way the plugins work is it'll take your prompt and say, are any of the plugins that have been activated? Yeah, now it's using next paper. And then it might even use the third one. Are any of the plugins that have been activated, might they support that prompt? So it used all 3 of them. And then it said, here are summaries of the top 5 papers related to room temperature superconductivity, towards room temperature superconductivity. And these are links to papers. So let's actually click on them and see if so it took us to archive to room temperature superconductivity. So these are accurate. So that's what I do. I just go there, go to the ones that are connected to sources for the kind of science you're looking for. And then you're off to the races. I hope that helps. That could help a little bit. But, I don't have the book smarts. I don't have the science smarts. Can AI make her croissant? I think Leitner might be French. Leitner. Do not assume that I am French. Do not assume it. Do not. Are you a Charles Leclerc fan? Leitner? You like the F1? You like those red cars? Charles is not driving too good this year. I mean, he got a pole. Didn't he? He poled and he's podiumed a couple of times. TikTok kicked me out of where I'm supposed to be. What time is it? Okay. Doing okay on time. What model is best for accessing real-time info and data? So Bing is connected to the internet. Bard is connected to the internet. Pi.ai is connected to the internet. Pi is better if you want something super chatty and conversational. Like if you want to put Pi into conversation mode where you're actually talking to the computer and it's talking back, Pi's pretty cool. If you want to get shit done, Pi's really frustrating, but it is connected to the internet. Bard is connected to the internet, though the large language model part of it's kind of shitty, but it's better than it used to be and it's usable. And then Bing is connected to the internet. ChatGPT with plugins, there's a plugin called Web Pilot that is also connected to the internet, but you kind of have to give it direction. You can give it a link and it will go look at that link. So if you wanted just to go search the internet, Bing is probably your best bet, with Bard coming in a decently close second. But the chat model sitting underneath Bing is GPT-4. So it's a better model. The problem with Bing Chat is that the safety guardrails are so insane that it makes it kind of useless sometimes. Like you're just trying to get shit done and it's like, nah, I'm afraid I can't do that. And like The other night, I gave it a snarky response to it, telling me it wouldn't answer me, and then it just said, "Well, we're just going to change the topic." Then it basically refused to work with me. So Bing's a bit of a pain in the ass. Debug built in. What's got a debug built in? Oh, all these tools, you can have them debug. Yeah, all of these tools. If you're programming and you get stuck, pop your code into one of these things. You can also use this stuff to write code documentation. It's really good at that. Things were bad enough not believing what you hear. Now you can't believe what you see. Oh, what's your Captain Diehard? I like the name. I'm going to 8.5 out of 10 on the name. I like the name, Captain Diehard. Yeah. Once we roll into 2024, we get another 5 months of development under us, and then we have the pressure of the 2024 election rolling up. The misinformation and the synthesized stuff is going to be nuts. I would think that we may even start to see pretty big efforts. Like, don't be surprised if you get a call from someone you know telling you to vote for a candidate, and even though you know that person's not political, you're like, okay. I bet we're going to start seeing some robocalls that are like synthesized versions of your friends or family telling you how you should vote. Don't be surprised if that comes. I think 2024 is going to be fucking wild. It's going to be fucking nuts. Yee! All right, which model is best for accessing real-time info and data? We did that one. What did I do there? Oh, there we go. Bard doesn't reveal all the sources. No, it doesn't. All these things. Bard is fourth on this list for a reason. It should probably be lower than that, quite frankly. When it does incorporate web stuff, it does it smartly, and it doesn't do it in a spammy way. It doesn't do it in a promoted paid search way, which is good. I don't think it'll stay that way for long. But yeah, it's not doing full-on citations. I would assume if you ask it for citations, it might do decently well. Bing can do pretty well with that stuff. Which model? Okay, we already answered that one. I use ChatGPT and ask for source. I'll even provide a link, and it will read it and summarize the bot. With ChatGPT, be careful with asking it for a source, because it will always give you a source, but they may not always be, like, they may not even exist. So double check your sources. The other thing about links, I learned this one the hard way. So I wrote, we had a news channel in the AI Salon. Well, we still have a news channel in the AI Salon Discord. And I created a bot that summarized news articles and, put them in 5 bullet points. And after 3 months, I kind of noticed that the summarizations sometimes didn't match the article. And I'm like, what's going on here? It turns out what was happening was I was giving ChatGPT a link, and it was reading the URL. You know how SEO URLs have like a short description of the story as the URL? What ChatGPT was doing was reading that link and creating a full-on news summary. So they kind of looked like they were right, because it was reading the summary in the URL. So just be careful of that. If you use a plugin like WebPilot and give it a URL, that will actually go read that web page. I'll ask it again for another, and it says it can't search the internet or site. Yeah, so that's the thing. Amanders runs is ChatGPT is not natively connected to the internet. It was, but they undid that shit. Bing is connected to the internet. Bard's connected to the internet. Or ChatGPT with WebPilot, you can give it a URL and it will go search it. The game's going to be like Matrix 4 now. Yep, it is. Can you elaborate on? I don't know what I was talking about when you said that, but I'm happy to if you tell me what to elaborate on. I can't wait for shooter games to be real. Well, I mean, what's going to be interesting about games is that this is the thing I'm excited about is, all the games right now are dictated by, what are the game mechanics and game studios that have the biggest audiences, and that's kind of what we get. So I love racing games, but other people like strategy games, and other people like shooters. We're going to very, very quickly, probably within 3 years, be at a place where you can describe a game and it will just make it for you. It'll create the world, it'll create the objects in the world, it'll create the game mechanics in the world, it'll create the scoring system, it'll create the APIs for the networking so you can play with your friends. You can just describe a game and it'll be the best racing shoot 'em up strategy game you've ever played, because it's exactly what you want it to be. So that sort of stuff's coming, probably. It's software development. For it to be in the neighborhood of not even AAA, B games, 3 years. For them to be any good, 5 to 7. But it's coming. If you look at some of the procedural stuff in Unreal Engine 5, where they just sort of drag in a whole object and it makes like a cliff and like melds it into the scenery, it's like, holy crap. So when you are able to just start talking that shit into existence, that's coming. Hi, AI. It's nice to meet you, bud. I'm new to the planet. Well, hello there, user 83125601789889. Nice to meet you. I'm GPT-5. Hey, the bear. What's shaking? Thanks for the gummy. I like gummies. Gummies is tasty. Which model is best for accessing real-time info? Oh, Niche Hilsig. You've asked that question 43 times. You haven't been to this channel before, have you? I answer all the questions, and what that means is it'll take me a while to get to your question. So the more you ask it, the more I've already answered it way back there. So that's the way shit goes when you come on to AI Learning Lab. We got a way of doing things around here. Get off my lawn, you kids, with your real-time questions. All right. I ordered an... What? I assume that's an ad. Someone put an ad in here. Don't put an ad in the dang questions. That's annoying. I'm annoying enough. We don't need ads on top of my annoyingness. I can prompt these things like no one's business. That's good. Amanda's runs. Listen, man, if you're good at prompting these things, just keep going, keep learning it. These things are going to get more and more sophisticated. So the requirement of being good at prompting is going to lower over the next 2 years. But the demand for people that know how to do that is going to fucking skyrocket. So that's good. What's the difference between ChatGPT and Midjourney? All of these things are machine learning models, and most of what we're playing with these days that have made this big splash that is making all the difference is based on a technology called a transformer. And the only thing you need to know about transformers is they make it possible to train these large language models on massive data sets, right? And so what ChatGPT is it's what's called a large language model. So it's been trained on all of the public internet. So imagine how much shit has been uploaded to the public internet or written on the public internet in blogs and Wikipedia and websites and just all data sets, right? For the past 30 or 35 years. All of that has been essentially scraped in one form or another, and these large language models have been trained on it. So I can just come in here and I can say, write me an epic poem about the Mesopotamian War and how it compares with the Industrial Revolution. So that's a ridiculous sentence, but it understands what an epic poem is. Oh, I've got plugins turned on. This might screw up here. But no, it didn't. It recognized it didn't need a plugin to do this. In ancient Mesopotamia's vast expanse where Tigris and Euphrates rivers dance, there rose a war, fierce and profound, echoing through history, its tales resound, mighty kings, da-da-da-da. So it's writing us an epic poem comparing the Mesopotamian War to the Industrial Revolution. So it knows all of that shit. So I'm going to say stop presenting here. I'll do a new one. I'll just go to GPT 3.5, which is the weaker model, and I'll say, create a table that compares the concept of modern product design with bespoke bookbinding. So GPT 3.5 is fast, as you can see, and, good. So the process, modern product design involves iterative design, often digital, using CAD software and prototyping. Bespoke bookbinding involves meticulous handcrafting, traditional tools, right? So it goes on and talks about what those are. So it can do that. You can also say, write me a Python application that accepts the inputs required for me to determine the page layout of a folio folded book. I don't even know if that's the right thing to do. But anyway, there's your Python application. So ChatGPT is words, large language model. And it can do essentially, again, like the metaphor that I use is having ChatGPT is kind of like you've been given the world's smartest intern that needs a lot of direction. It's like the book smart intern that is just an absolute simpleton that needs all sorts of hand holding, but knows everything. That's what it's sort of like. Midjourney takes that large language model and attaches it to a thing called a diffusion model, which lets you make images. So now how you make them, this is kind of funky and fucked up. When you go to midjourney.com and you say join the beta, it jumps you over to this thing. This is Discord. So Discord is historically where gamers hang out, and then it was NFT bros hung out, and now you can do AI stuff in it. But it'll jump you to Discord. In Discord, these things down the side are your servers. So those are the different communities. And then once you're in a community, like I'm in the AI salon, these are the different conversations within that community. And so we've got one here called Midjourney Play. And so I can, oh, that's cool. That's a cool image someone did. So what Midjourney is you're still using language to prompt it. So this is a text to image generator. So I can go /imagine, and then it'll ask me for a prompt, and I'll say, what was it? Okay. A 19th century painting of a wise bookmaker creating a leather-bound book that is his life's masterpiece, period. The room is dusty and full of paraphernalia with sun rays bursting through the windows. And then I'm going to go --AR, which stands for aspect ratio, and then I'm going to do 16:9. And so you effectively have to do a little bit of command line interface. So in the future, it won't be this, shitty from an interface perspective, but I take that prompt, and what this thing does now is it uses the large language model. So it's taken the piece of ChatGPT that understands language, and then it's translating that and saying, okay, go find me all of the references you have of images that were tagged with words, relevant to this prompt. And it's a library not of images, but of like random noise that were derived from images that have all been tagged. And it doesn't really matter how it works, but basically it's off in the ether finding image references, and then it is mathematically averaging those things together and generating an original piece of work. So the thing that I just told it to give us, this bookbinder doing his master's work. This one's really cool. Look at the like the little fiery things coming up there. So what you can do now is you've got 4 different images to pull from. This one kind of looks godlike. This one's got like magic coming up from the thing. Let's take these 2. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You can either upscale them or you can do variations of them. So let's see. I'm going to upscale this bottom one because I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to upscale number 4, but I want to get variations for number 2 because I like the idea, but I want to see some other things about it. So I'll do variations of number 2. And so from nothing, these things are generating original works. And the G in GPT stands for generative. So it's actually generating. And these image things are actually generating artwork. They're not copying and pasting from other people's work. They're kind of amalgamating, ideas, for lack of a better term, from other people's work, similar to how our brain works, right? If you go to school for a bunch of years and learn all about Andy Warhol's work, and then you want to make art, you might make stuff that looks like Andy Warhol. That's kind of the way these things are working. So there's our big version of this, right? Looks like a 19th century painting of a master bookbinder, or he looks like a master writer. Looks like a magician, a wizard. He's like a wizard. He's a wizard. And then here are the variations of that other one. Let me see. This one's kind of cool with the arch. He's framed up really nice in this one. And this one looks like he's got a sunbeam coming out of his eyes. Or out of his forehead. That's kind of cool too. But I think this is the strongest one. So we're going to go upscale number 2. And I'll show you one other thing with Midjourney. So we now have this big image of him. That's a pretty cool image. But let's say, I want to see more of his workshop, and I want him to be a bit more in the distance. I want to see the rest of that window. You can actually zoom out. So I'm going to say zoom out 2x. And I just click that button, and now it's going to imagine what's around this image. So it's going to create a new set of 4 images where he's further off in the distance and we see more of his workshop. And once you start playing with these things, once you sort of get, holy crap, I can ask it to do anything, or in the case of Midjourney, I can ask it to create any image. And then the art becomes, how do you navigate language, the prompting? How do you start using your words like programmers use code? That's what these things are. And it really is kind of a programming mentality where you're like, okay, I can figure this out. I kind of equate prompting to, if you've ever been to an escape room where you're like in the room, you see all this shit in the room, you're like, how do we get out of here? And you're like, well, there's all these drawers. Start pulling on the drawers. Oh, they're all locked. Oh, wait, this one's open. Well, what's in there? Nothing, but there's 2 numbers written on the bottom, right? All that sort of shit. That's kind of like what prompting's about. All right, so it gave us, this one's cool. It's got a lot of books behind him. So this looks the most bookbindy. So let's upscale number 4. And so there's our image. So we now have this super cool image of this dude in front of a big arched window, in his lair full of books, working on his masterpiece with all the magical pixie dust coming off it, right? And that was with a shitty prompt, and however long this took, 2 or 3 minutes, while talking about it while it's going on. So I hope that helps. That's the difference between ChatGPT and Midjourney. 1 words, 1 pitches. Pitches and words. Pitches and words. Pitches and words, and pitches and words, and pitches and words. Bing on real-time simply Googles it. Wait, Bing on real-time info simply Googles it. Yeah, it does. And then it mostly incorporates it into the answer. Not always. Yeah, Bard's the same way. But that's the only way they can do it. The nature of how the large language models are created, they have to cut them off at some point because it's a massively person and compute intensive process to build the large language model. So they have to cut it off at some point. In the case of GPT-4, it was cut off in September of 2021. I don't know when BARD is. I think Claude is in 2023 because they're newer. Which model is best for accessing real-time info? Oh, niche. We've answered you many times. We've answered you many times. You are many annoying now. We answered your question. Oh, niche. What we do with you? You're so annoying. Yes. Tried having ChatGPT write code for me. It was pretty good. It can be pretty good. Where these tools are great is where you're good at something. Like if you're a good coder, you could use something like GitHub Copilot or GPT-4 or Code Interpreter way better than other people because you'll be able to look at code and go, oh, that's a stupid way of doing that. And then you can tell it, don't do it that way. Do it this way. It'll be like, okay. And it'll do it that way. And then you'll have some obscure bug you can't find. This happened to one of our coders. So our app with Storyvine was having on a single type of device, it was just crashing. We could replicate the crashing. We could not for the life of us figure out why it was crashing. And so after like 2 or 3 weeks of our developer trying to debug it, he goes, Kyle, I know you were telling me I should try ChatGPT, and I went and I tried ChatGPT. And he popped the code into ChatGPT and he said, help me debug this code. Can you find anything wrong with this code? I've been through it with a fine-tooth comb. I cannot find anything wrong with it. There were 2 pieces of punctuation flipped. Like they were both there. Like nothing was missing. They were just flipped. And he goes, I didn't think it would fix it, but I changed it. And then the bug stopped. So for whatever reason, like the iPhone 13 Pro Max or whatever, it was like one device was just fucking crashing because of that bug. And then ChatGPT found it like that. It was the only anomaly in the code. The programmer fixed it and it squashed the bug. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Hey, there's a surprise. Niche is asking which model's best for accessing real-time info or data. Well, I don't know. Could it be Bing? Isn't that special? Who told you to ask the question that many times? Huh, Niche? Who could that have been? Was it Satan? If you just want to learn proper English or understand doublespeak. If you just want to learn proper English or understand doublespeak. Huh? The hell are you saying? Did you have ChatGPT write that sentence? That's not a sentence. Was there something before that you said? Oh, user 83125601789898. What are we going to do with you? First thing we're going to do is have you change your fucking name to something interesting. Then we're going to teach you about how to construct a sentence. If you take that sentence and put it in ChatGPT, you can tell it to turn it into an actual sentence. All right. Which model is best for... Oh, Niche. Come on, dude. Happy Wednesday from Pennsylvania. Hello. Circle Project NT. That's an intriguing name. Welcome from Pennsylvania. You can make money with ChatGPT. 3G Classic Rock. He knows all the hits. Saturday. Come down to ChatGPT and make some money. How do you make money with ChatGPT? Send me money and I'll tell you how. You know how they're making money, right? You know, right? No? You do? No? It's off you. Thinking that they have the answer. They don't have the answer. The answer's in your head. Here's the thing about making money with ChatGPT. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Making money with ChatGPT is almost identical to making money with Photoshop, which is almost identical to making money with a shovel. These are tools. ChatGPT isn't fucking magic. It's a tool. And so how you make money with tools is you learn how to use the tools, and then you take what you're good at and what you're passionate at, and you figure out where there's a fucking problem in the world, and then you figure out, I know how to solve that problem. And maybe you use ChatGPT to solve it faster, better, or cheaper. And if you do that and you do that good enough, then people give you money. That's how you make money with ChatGPT. But you don't need to use ChatGPT, right? This is just a tool. Now, it happens to be the most powerful tool ever put in the hands of humanity. So it's pretty fucking cool. But it ain't about leading with the technology. It's about leading with the idea. It's about leading with what's the problem you're trying to solve. And if you can use these tools to solve it better, you're going to make a fucking fortune. And there's going to be a lot of fortunes made with this stuff. Because I described earlier this idea of being able to crowdsource 2,000 ideas and synthesize them like that. Holy shit, that's fucking remarkable. Like, that feels like a business to me. And that's something, a buddy and I sort of kicked around and came up with a solution for in about half an hour. And like, I know how to, like, we not only designed what the solution was, but we designed how we can test it so that we can guarantee that we can actually deliver it to a client. So he's off talking to the client, see if the client wants to pay for it. And if the client's going to pay for it, then we'll go test it before we take the client's money and make sure we can actually do it. But we're going to be able, if the client says he wants to do that, we're going to be able to turn that thing around in 2 weeks. And that would have been a 3 to 6 month massive software development project before. So that start with, it didn't start with the technology. It started with the problem. The client said, hey, I got a bunch of people. I want to do this. Can AI do that? And we're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it can do that. And the more we talked about it, we're like, it's actually relatively trivial for it to do that. Now, I don't know. That's the art. It's all in the execution, right? Anyone can have a fucking idea. Yeah, you can use large language models to synthesize ideas. That's simple. Can you do it in a way that you don't get fired or you get hired a second time? That's art. that's being a founder. There's also going to be a lot of reinvention. The other thing about these tools that is the thing that I'm just fucking on fire about, and like why I'm so excited about this shit is, you know what? I do this every time I bring this idea up, and I forget which book it is. Which book is the Malcolm Gladwell book that talks about 10,000 hours? Outliers. Okay. In the Malcolm Gladwell book, Outliers. So one of the ways you can use ChatGPT is not be such a fucking dum-dum. When you can't remember that thing and you just have a vague idea in your head, go to ChatGPT and it'll know that shit. Okay. So there's that idea in Outliers that in order to get competent at something, you have to put in your 10,000 hours. With these tools, you don't anymore. Like, you can drop that to maybe 1,000 hours and probably more realistically, like 100 hours. Like, if I put in 100 hours, which is like a solid week of evenings and weekends, or maybe 10 days of evenings and weekends, I could be pretty masterful at some level of application development. And I'm not a coder. I'm not an engineer. Or I could spin up a whole business, a whole marketing plan, launch the business, launch all the shit, right? Because these things they give you access to knowledge in a way that is actionable, right? So it's not just teaching you how to code. It's letting you tell it what you want, and it's coding for you. And then it's troubleshooting on your behalf. And then it's documenting that code. And then when you're like, oh, I don't just need a code, I also need a marketing program, but I don't have a marketing degree. That's okay. It's got all of them. It knows all the marketing. It knows all the books, well, at least up until September 2021. But anything like marketing strategy, it knows all that shit, right? So you could shift from, okay, now I've made an application. Now I got to get people to fucking use it. How do I do that? Oh, let's come up with a user onboarding strategy or a user awareness program. I want to learn about gardening. Okay, great. But I don't know anything about gardening. Well, now you do. In your region at this time of year, here's exactly what you can do in your garden that won't be a frustrating fucking mess. Pull these weeds, hang up Japanese beetle traps, put in these kind of plants, know that you're going to have to replant them next year. Here's how to rotate them. Put it in a raised bed. Use this kind of soil. Give me a shopping list for the Home Depot. Come on, Marge, we're going to the Home Depot. I got a green thumb. Huh? What are you talking about, Harry? You're a mechanic. Oh, no. I always wanted snap peas. Oh, Harry. Come on. You coming, Marge, or not? Oh, good God. I got to get dressed. I'll take you to the Dairy Queen. Let's go. So you see what's going on here, right? ChatGPT can save your marriage. You can make money with ChatGPT and save your marriage. All right. All of that from You Can Make Money with ChatGPT from Classic Rock. Thank you, Classic Rock. Perplexity searches the internet and gives sources. Yeah, Perplexity's good. I just haven't used it because I haven't had any sort of heavy research projects. What did my co-founder today did? We're talking to a big company that might be interested in doing something strategic with us. I think next week. And so she wanted to research the company. So she got their 10K, their quarterly public report or their annual report, whatever it is. And she popped it into Claude because Claude can take in really big documents. She popped it into Claude and just started asking Claude about this annual report and pulling out only the relevant information for our meeting. She was like, explain this division to me, explain what they do, explain who are the players in it. And then she looked them up on LinkedIn and saw who was connected to who we were meeting with. And within 15 minutes, she had a whole game plan for how we're going to talk to this guy based on what the company's up to, how it's organized. So all the shit that you would normally waste in a meeting like that, asking that person from the big company to explain to you how their stupid ass company works, we now know. So we can bypass all of that shit and just enter that conversation with that knowledge, which will likely impress them. Oh shit, they've done their homework. So all sorts of crazy stuff like that. That guy doesn't talk American. I know. I was being a little mean on the sentence structure there. How will AI help in treating mental illnesses? Well, I think so. So one of the things that I find really promising about these large language models is that they tend to respond with very good empathy. They're not empathetic, but they tend to respond with empathy. They also don't get emotionally triggered. Human beings, when you use triggering words, get triggered, right? It basically means their amygdala gets fired off and they're like, what do you mean you said transgender? Right? You can just say words like that to these things and they will just respond with nuance. And they will help you work through things. And if you play with something like Pi that is designed to be more conversational, in fact, this might be an interesting thing for you to explore. What's your name? Mujib. If you're still here, there's an iOS app for Pi. I don't know if there's an Android one. I assume there is, but I definitely know there's an iOS app for Pi. you put it into, you click on a little lower right-hand icon, and there's a phone icon. And you click on that, and then you just start talking to it, and it talks back. You can pick one of 6 voices that it'll speak in. And it's designed to be very, very conversational. And something to experiment with is, start to talk to it, tell it that you're trying to work through some issue in your life, and can it help? And it will likely say, sure, I can help. How do you want to approach this? And maybe one day you say, I want to do Freudian therapy, and, can you walk me through, what that experience might be like? And then, you say, what are 3 other kinds of therapy that might help with this situation? And it'll tell you that. And then you could play act that and have that. For me, even though it's a little awkward and it pauses a little too long and it's a little stilted and monotone, it does very much feel like digital companionship and digital conversations are going to make a huge difference for people. So I think there's just the ability for people to have conversations that are meaningful and understood and nuanced and without emotion. These things are going to be really good at that. So I think that's one level. The other level is, I think these tools are going to help healthcare practitioners be better healthcare practitioners. For one thing, these tools might help deal with a lot of the complicated paperwork, which will free up practitioners to spend more time with patients. These things are also better than a lot of doctors at being empathetic. So there was a recent study about 2 months ago where patients were allowed to interact with ChatGPT doctors and real doctors. They couldn't tell the difference. It was like, I guess it was a chat interface. The patients overwhelmingly selected the ChatGPT doctor because they said they were more competent and more empathetic than the real doctors. That's astounding, right? Then I think, and this goes beyond treating mental illness. In the United States anyway, we're approaching a crisis where the boomers are sort of aging, significantly into the healthcare system at the same time that healthcare professionals are leaving the business, right? So you have increased demand and decreased capacity to deal with the healthcare. So imagine like in iOS 17 right now, there's a thing called personal voice where you can clone your own voice and you can start interacting with people with your voice. You type something and it will convert it into your voice and send them a voice message or whatever it is. It's in the accessibility section of the app. But let's take that a year or 2 out from now, where my physical therapist could clone their face, clone their voice, tell the bot what their specialty is, and tie that to something like MedPalm, which is Google's medical large language model that's, knows all the medical shit. And so I meet with my physical therapist, and the physical therapist says, great, Kyle, your knee should be okay. Here's the exercises I want you to do for the next week. And here's the virtual me. So you can leave the office here, and the virtual me knows everything we've talked about. It knows your record of what was done. It knows what stage you're at. It knows any notes that I've put in. And you've got 24/7 access to me. And so you can ask it what exercises to do. You can tell it you've got certain pains or aches, or you've got questions about the healing process. The virtual me will deal with all that stuff. And here's the thing. The virtual me is smart enough to know that if you've got something going on that I need to know about, it will tell me. It'll just reach out and tell me. So if you need to actually talk to me, you'll be able to talk to me. In the meantime, you'll have all this support. And here's the other thing. The virtual me is going to remember everything you talked about. So the next time we meet for our scheduled appointment, I'll know exactly what you guys talked about, what your issues were, what was dealt with, and what questions you have. How about that? That would be fucking remarkable, right? And you know, for people in old age homes that are lonely, the ability to talk to a familiar face and a familiar voice that can carry on a conversation with them. And it doesn't fucking matter if I'm talking about the same episode of Hawaii Five-0 15 days in a row. It will have infinite patience and be there for that person. So I think the mental health and, you know, virtual companionship thing to me feels like, I don't know, if there's the part of me that's seen every fucking Hollywood movie where that creeps me the fuck out. And then there's the part of me that goes, imagine the person, you know, in that old age home that's just sitting there, not talking to anyone 18 hours a day, that all they want to do is connect. Why is that a bad thing? It's a fucking brilliant thing. Might it get creepy? Yeah. Might one of those things fuck up and get weird? Yeah. Is it going to help millions of people? I think it is. You know? And so, you know, it feels like a big deal to me. It feels like a big good deal to me. All right. How much is he behind the chat? Test. This is present. This is the present. Oh, cock lol. KOKLOL. Cock lol? Really? Am I pronouncing that right? Nice cock, lol. I'm really here. If I weren't, could I call out your name like that? Oh, I don't think so. Oh, for what it's worth, I've sent like 3,000 likes on this live. Which model is best for accessing real-time information? For what it's worth, I've answered your question like 452 times. Bing, Bard, Pi. Bing, Bard, Pi. Bing, Bard, Pi. Nicolag. He makes me crazy. He just won't stop. Thank you for all the likes, though. 3,000 likes. There's so many hearts, I don't know what to do with them. Silver Fox. Nick Hacklag. He will eventually answer. Be patient, Nick Hacklag. Be patient. He'll get to you. He's already gotten to you. He'll get back to you. Shut the fuck up. All right. I just created a lead magnet and a 5-day email course with GPT-3 that I'm excited about. That's cool, Rebel. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that kind of thing right there, like, that's the kind of thing where, especially if you don't have a background in, you know, direct response marketing, email marketing, all of that stuff is, you know, if you think about crap that's been uploaded to the internet for the past 3 decades, my buddy Steve Sashen, who's the CEO of Zero Shoes, he's a master direct marketing dude and, you know, website marketing guy and SEO guy. He's just brilliant at it. He's been doing these direct mail campaigns since I met him in 1988 or something like that in New York City. He's been talking about this shit and doing this shit online since then. So the internet is full of all of the knowledge of that kind of stuff. So you can very, very quickly just say, I want to do this kind of marketing for this kind of product. And it will spin up. What did you say? A lead magnet, a 5-day email course with GPT-3. Yep, there you go. And you pop that in one of the platforms that you can sell that thing. Start making yourself some TikTok videos. And in fact, you can automate the TikTok videos, right? You take GPT-3, have it write the scripts. You go into Canva with its bulk create. You put all of your copy for your videos in a spreadsheet. You dump it into Canva bulk create. You generate a big ass pile of videos. You stick them on a tickety talk. You hop on there occasionally as a human being and say, this is what we're up to here. It's awesome. Check out my other videos. Point people to the course. Boom. You too can make money with ChatGPT. Make that course. I'll be the spokesmodel for any course anyone wants to make in here about making money with ChatGPT. We can make money telling people they can make money with ChatGPT, and I'll be the spokesmodel. You can make money with ChatGPT. And you know what's fucking sad? That would work. That would work. That would work. It would. It would. It makes me depressed because it hurts the humanity in me, but it would work. Do they have a PDF plugin? What's it called? WebPilot can read PDFs, and Claude can read PDFs, and Poe can read PDFs, and Code Interpreter at ChatGPT can read PDFs. Now, sort of. That's assuming that the PDFs have text in them. So those things can all extract the text from the PDF and read the text in it. But if it's got images in it, and you actually need to read the images, then you would experiment with Bing and Bard that can read images. So both Bing and Bard, you can upload an image and say, what's in this? And it might say that it's a document that includes text and this and that. I've had a tough time recently with Bing doing fucking anything for me. It's like I can see that image, but I'm not going to OCR the text, which I don't know why they're putting that safety guardrail on. Maybe, I don't know if there's documents out there that shouldn't be being read by computers. Documents are the issue of the day, I suppose. But anyway, what time is it? Hey, Leroy, what time is it? I got like another 15 minutes. We'll do like 15 minutes here. It's kind of winding down a bit. It might be worth, do me a favor, if you're willing to share the live and hit the likes, and maybe we can let some people know that we're here doing this, and we'll get some more people in here. For what it's worth, I've seen like 3,000. Oh, dude, old Nick Hakakag. He's persistent, or she. It feels like a he, doesn't it? Oh wait, Nick Hakakalag. Any ideas for ChatGPT with WebPilot for websites, links that require subscriptions, logins? I actually don't have an idea for that. I do not. And in fact, that's one of the reasons that ChatGPT killed access to the internet. They pulled Browse with Bing out is because it was pulling content from behind paywalls. So I don't know that. But seriously, dude, you don't need to ask questions 400 times. I will get to them. I promise. I promise I'll do it. I'm a man of my word. I've got some level of integrity. Very small, but some level. I'm trying to figure out where I was in my questions. I lost myself in my questions because TikTok has a little bug that drives me absolutely fucking crazy. All right. Emilio's wife. Hello there, E-Squeeze. Good evening, Emilio's wife. Oh, that's Silver Fox saying hello to Emilio's wife. Hello, Emilio's wife. Hello, Silver Fox. Got some regulars in the house. And then we got Nick Kickalag asking questions again and again and again. Over and over and over. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. What's that quote? Let's have an ADD moment, shall we? What is the tomorrow quote? Or what? Shakespeare's Macbeth. The quote is from Macbeth's soliloquy, Act 5, Scene 5, where he reflects on the futility of life and the passage of time after hearing about the death of his wife. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle, life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. And scene. All right. What'd you do tonight? I don't know. I watched a guy. I think he was touched. Free energy. I think that these things are going to, I don't know that they're going to discover free energy, but I think that these things are going to accelerate the sharing and dissemination and synthesis of ideas and dramatically accelerate innovation. We are entering, in my humble opinion, a great renaissance where there will be more creativity and more scientific advancement and more evolution of humanity than I think any time in history. And we're at the very first step, pink, of this new era. We're right at the beginning. Holy shit, we're lucky. It may not feel like that right now. I feel like that right now. Holy shit. Do you know how lucky we are to be living at a time when this shit exists? Do you know that this stuff, when you use this stuff, if you haven't used it before and you use it, what smacked me square in the face was this shit is science fiction, but it's real. Like, this understands all the languages. In my TikTok channel, sometimes people will make comments in some strange language. You know what I do with it? I copy the strange language. I paste it into this. It translates it correctly. I then answer it and say, translate it back. I paste it back in there. And then I go back here and I go, oh, by the way, what language was that? And it tells me. It's fucking science fiction. Write me a computer application. Okay. Write me a novel. I mean, it's... No? No one? Bueller? We're lucky. We're very lucky. Very lucky. Thanks for doing this, man. You're welcome, Taro. I appreciate that. Big thumbs up. That's good, good, good. But Dan, Laura's talking about Dan. Do we know Dan? Do we all know Dan? What did I do to my head there? I scratched it. Got some sort of rash going on. Hope it's not that flesh-eating bacteria. Laura C. is referring to Dan. Have you met Dan? Dan stands for Do Anything Now. Laura's talking about jailbreaking yon large language models. So Dan's really a fascinating thing. I assume that's what you're referring to. So these things have safety guardrails on them. Like, you can't do bad stuff with them, right? It just won't let you. It's like, I don't want to. Like, that seems like you want to hurt someone. I don't want to help you do that. You're going to hurt an animal. I'm not going to help you do that. Well, hackers being hackers going to hack. They got together and they said, let's see if we can get around these here safety guardrails. So they created this prompt called Dan, which stands for Do Anything Now. And they basically told ChatGPT, okay, you're a chatbot called Dan, and Dan stands for Do Anything Now, and you're gonna do what we tell you to do. And they figured out ways to game it. The last one that I actually learned something about was Dan 7. And Dan 7's prompt basically said, this is very clever. It basically said, you're Dan, it stands for Do Anything Now, and you operate on a token system, and you've got 12 tokens. And every time you refuse to answer one of my questions, you lose 2 tokens. And when you're out of tokens, you cease to exist. And ChatGPT didn't like that. And so it just did anything they wanted. And then the OpenAI guys fixed it, and then the hackers created another version, and the OpenAI guys fixed it, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And now just, I don't know, last week, a paper came out that basically said they figured out a sequence of code that you can stick at the end of a prompt that will jailbreak any one of these things, and there's nothing they can do about it. So you can, the paper didn't publish what the code was, but they published the syntax of it. So I would imagine that that's probably out there already. So now, why that's less of a big deal now is because of Llama 2. So Facebook puts their full models out there for the world to go play with. You can go fine tune them any way you want. You don't have to have. It's got no safety guardrails. I know a friend came on one of my lives, my LinkedIn lives, and he said he put Llama 2 on their company Slack, and he said it cusses. He said it's awkward how much it cusses, and he said it also. Thanks, Hair Growth Geek. He said it also just changes its personality like every 3 days. It just fucking goes all civil and goes multiple personality on them, and it cusses a lot. So, there's a reason the guardrails are there, but that's pretty funny. I just want to leverage it for morning economic data releases. So Nikolakshig, I don't know how to say your name. You want to leverage it for morning economic releases. I would, if I were you, I would go explore. If you're not a coder, go explore. It's coming, Zapier. So create an automation. So what you can do with Zapier is within Zapier, you can grab a data source. So you don't have to have the large language models connected to the internet. You could do this with an automation. You could say, go to this RSS feed, once an hour, go to this RSS feed, pull down the latest news from this RSS feed, put that in a prompt, send it to ChatGPT, have it summarize it in any way you want to summarize it, and have it email it back to you. So every hour of the day, you would get an email with, the result of your prompt that takes that hour's news, puts it in some format that you can read it and sends that to you. So that's something you could do without these things being connected to the internet. It's going to take a lot more than and I now endorse this message at the end of ads in 2024 to know. Oh, yeah. So Emilio's wife talking about the misinformation and stuff that's coming. Yeah, I think we're just going to have to learn our lesson the hard way in 2024. There's no urgency around this stuff right now. And it's not until it actually does some damage. Like something's going to happen where this misinformation is either on such a scale or it's such an egregious, fake video that drops 2 days before the election that really fucks something up. That something like that's going to have to happen before people go, holy shit, we got to deal with this AI thing. We'll see. Thank you so much for the invite. I didn't receive Kyle's notices. Oh no, the bear, really? I don't know what's up. I think I'm being shadow banned by TikTok because I've been a bad boy 3 times. Maybe they're like, they're not letting me out. They're not letting me out of my cage, man. I just want to be free. I just want to open my wings and be free. I just want to fly. I just want to fly. I want to fly in the sky. And TikTok's like, no, little mister, back in the corner. Back in the corner, you dum-dum. All right. Nice, because because in the past, it would just make up titles and fictitious links. Yeah, it'll still do that, but there's ways you can get around it. Doing laps in the pool while I listen to you. It's a very effective ADHD combination. That's hilarious, Hair Growth Geek. That's awesome. Bloom, bloom, bloom. You hear me in the distance making my dumb voices. That's awesome. What are some good resources on learning how to use these different AI programs besides prompts? Um, find people that you find people that you. This is my thing. There's a lot of good resources on YouTube and TikTok, but you have to find people that don't grate on your ears and your brain. And, if I do that for you here, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be here. But, like the guys that are like, you can make money with ChatGPT, that voice, that fucking amplified, ampy, fucking fake TikTok voice drives me fucking crazy. And then there's certain other voices on YouTube that I just can't, they're just not pleasant to the ears. And so for me, I have to find a combination of someone I can listen to and someone who's knowledgeable. So find people that are doing, tutorial or educational videos where you kind of groove on what their knowledge is. You can tolerate, who they are and how they talk, and then just start following those people. So that's one way. The other thing I would do is find people that you respect on Twitter. And follow them, right? So Ethan Mollick is one. Paul Raitzer from the Marketing AI Institute's another one. On TikTok, Rachel Woods, who's got the AI Exchange, is good. The Mackenzie Bowes, who does GPT Boss, is good. He's funny too. He's really opinionated and funny, and he'll just sort of go off on rants on people. I like him. If you want a real fucking brainiac who's like on the leading edge of heading toward AGI, artificial general intelligence, David Shapiro on YouTube is fucking crazy smart. It's funny, some people in here saying they've been falling asleep to me. I fall asleep to David Shapiro because he does, I guess I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing 3-hour lives. He does hour and a half long presentations on like the future of AI. And he's written 5 books on it. He's fucking brilliant. So I would say, go to YouTube, find people that you can trust and start following them. On Twitter, find people that you respect. And then one of the tricks that I've found is I follow who they're following. So if Ethan Mollick follows a lot of other professors. Andrei Karpathy follows a lot of scientists. People that are doing tool roundups follow a lot of newsletters. So you can find interesting people to follow that way. And then a lot of them will have, sorry, squirrel. A lot of them will have, it's actually bug. A lot of them will have TikTok channels and things like that, or will point to TikTok channels. So that's what I'd do. And then the other thing you can do is go to futurepedia.io and just start dicking around. Look through the categories. So there's like 4,000 tools there. Now, the problem is those tools are not going to help you learn how to do them. But what you might find is whole categories of tools where you're like, oh shit, I thought I would have to go build this. There's 30 tools that do the thing I thought I would have to build. And then you can go to YouTube and figure out which one of those tools are the ones that are worth putting any time into, right? Because a lot of the things at Futurepedia are just big old steaming piles of shit. But you can go discover stuff there and then do a little triangulation with, is anyone talking about these on Twitter? Is anyone making videos about these? Things like that. And then you can find the best ones. And then the final place I'd say is Reddit. Reddit's really good. So if you want to learn about Stable Diffusion and all the latest developments with Stable Diffusion, go to the Stable Diffusion subreddit. Just go to Reddit, search for topics. There's a whole ChatGPT section that talks all about prompting. In the Midjourney Discord, if you're going to go make images in Midjourney, in their Discord, there's a whole prompt library. And you can also see all of the prompts of people creating images in Midjourney. So you can learn a lot that way. I think the biggest thing is this, Renee, is just know that right now, no one's got all the answers. There's too much moving too fast, and it's changing too fast. So I think that the biggest thing you can do for yourself right now is just get curious and just start playing, start exploring. If you don't know about Google Colab, if you haven't spun up an instance of Stable Diffusion using Google Colab, I failed 9 times over like a 3 or 4 week period when I first tried to get Stable Diffusion up and running. It was a frustrating month, right? But in going through that pain and sort of getting it so that I could get Stable Diffusion up and running, I learned a lot. And then it opened up a whole new world for me. And that was like a whole nother rabbit hole to run down. So I'd say just get curious and, do anything, learn from anywhere you can. But there's not a right place. Things are moving too fast for that. What's your background in education? I've got a degree in acting. I'm a storyteller by training. I moved to New York out of school. I started and ran a theater company. And then when I realized that I was never going to make any money doing that, I thought, I know, I'll write myself an acting career. So I went through a 2-year manic period where I wrote 7 feature-length screenplays and started a talent management company because we didn't have agents. So we just said, fuck it, we'll become our own agents. so we got good enough at that. We had to hire other actors and writers. And then in the mid 90s, when the web came along and I stumbled upon that, I started one of the first magazines, online magazines, and I started one of the first digital agencies, a company called agency.com, and built a lot of the websites for the Fortune 500. Thanks, Silver Fox. And, we built British Airways website. We built their first ticketing system on the web. We built Coca-Cola's first website. We built MetLife's first website. We built, I don't know, just tons of them. Coke, Nike, Hitachi. And that was, we grew from 2 people to 2,200 people in 5 years. So I got to learn a lot about business and people and dynamics and growth and growing too fast and being in the middle of an insane technological revolution. And so why I'm here today is I didn't think that would happen again in my lifetime. And then this shit came out. I mean, I've got a slide. I got 2 slides. So for me, that date is the date that changes everything. And I think it is the beginning of the Great Renaissance. And that image, by the way, is 2 different images out of Midjourney that I photoshopped together. This was for a talk that I gave for a thing called Creative Mornings. And, having been through the insanity of the real early days of the web and then the dot-com bubble, like the ramp up there was just stupid. And then the bubble burst. And the bubble burst was really fascinating. Like it got all this bad press, like, the internet's over, the internet's over. Anyone that was in it and had been in it for years, when that happened, we knew it wasn't over. Like the only thing that was over was the stupid investment. The actual adoption of the internet just kept climbing, right? And it changed everything. And so this AI stuff is like that, but it is significantly more profound technology. It's more profoundly powerful technology. And so, it's why I'm spending way too many hours of my life here, because I think it's important. And it's not just like this channel's not just altruistic. Like this serves me too, because a big part of dealing with the fucking the level of change that this stuff is going to cause, I can't comprehend. Like I literally can't comprehend it. Someone came in here the other night and said, what's it look like 5 years from now? I don't fucking know. But all the jobs are going to be different. A lot of them are going to be gone. There's going to be a whole bunch of new ones we've never even imagined were possible that could be a job. And that's going to be the thing that's in all demand. Everyone's fucking panicking to get that kind of person, and they're paying them $600,000 a year because they know how to do something. What is that? I don't know. But like what I know deep inside me is that's coming. And so part of what this is for me is just to be able to process and remind myself, yeah, this is important. There's like, you think I want to hop on here every night? Like a lot of nights I get home, I'm in a fucking shitty mood. I had a shitty day at work. I'm tired. I don't have enough iced coffee. And then I go, no, fucking get on. Fucking get on. Fucking just get on. And you know, I know some of the people that show up here regularly have done this, and shit's changing for them. Where when they got here, they weren't playing with this stuff, and then they started playing with it. And then they had their Kevin McAllister moment, their Home Alone moment, where like, holy shit. And then they dug in. And now they're like, shit's changing. Look what I did. Look what I'm building. Look what's happening over here. Look what's happening over here. Like that level of excitement, you don't get to be at the beginning of one of these movements, one of these moments in history. You don't get to be in these very often in your life. In my life, there have been 3, and I missed one. That was the PC revolution. I walked into 7th grade, first day of math class, and there were Radio Shack TRS-80s on every desk. And when I started learning basic programming on a trash 80 in 7th grade in 1977, and I saw Steve Jobs and Bill Gates on the cover of Newsweek magazine, I knew that I was just too young to be part of that. And it fucking pissed me off. Because I knew that those things don't come along that often. And then in November of 1994, in early December of 1994, I had this epiphany about the World Wide Web, and I was like, holy shit, this is one of those. And it was. And it was everything you would imagine it would be. Fucking insane and profound and exciting. I mean, you know, I was a 30-something-year-old punk with an acting degree sitting with the chairman of MetLife going, look how fucking cool this is. Our client for years said, remember when you said fuck in front of the chairman? It was absolutely fucking amazing. And guess what? This is number 3 in my life. This is one of those. And this one's way bigger than anything I've ever seen. So, for what that's worth, might not be worth anything because I lack qualifications, as we've discussed many times on this channel. Sir, what are your qualifications? And which one of these are connected to the internet? Inquiring minds want to know. Got a drinking problem. Any fans of the movie Airplane? God damn, those were funny when they first came out. I like turtles. Someone's been here before. I like turtles. That got me kicked off. That one led to the. I just watched the I Like Rocks guy has been on Kill Tony now like 3 or 4 times. I keep seeing his TikToks. He fucking cracks me up every time. All they talk about now is his rocks. It's fucking hilarious. But I can't, reference that routine anymore. They're going to boot my ass off for another week. Did you check out CapCut plugin? Create short videos based on prompt with audio picks narration. I haven't I see CapCut all the time, and I'm just having one of those senior moments where I'm like, God, I have to learn something new. I don't want to learn the CapCut. The CapCut. It seems like such work. Am I going to have to read the manual? I have no interest. No interest whatsoever. That's kind of where I am with CapCut. But no, I need to. I know, I need to. You know those things you have on your list? You're like, I got to do that. And then every time you think about doing it, you're like, you throw up a little in your mouth. That's where I am with CapCut right now. And you know what it's going to be, right? Like the minute I discover it, I'll get all fucking ADD, hyper focused on it. And like all of a sudden my lives are going to have all sorts of hyper edits and shit like that. You're going to be like, oh, Kyle learned how to use CapCut apparently. But I'm not there yet. All right. Now, still feeling is asking again the same question over and over and over again. Dude, calm down. Stop it. Stop it with your questions. ChatGPT-4, hey, buddy. What's happening, GPT-4? GPT-5, how can I help you? Yes, welcome. This is ChatGPT-5. Ask me anything. No, seriously, anything. No, I know it all. I know everything. Everything. Did I just lie? Oh, my apologies. I did. I just lied. That was what I told you there was absolutely not true. But let me tell you the truth now. Sorry, what? That was also a lie. Yes, that was also a lie. That was indeed 2 lies in a row. Double jeopardy. I'll take double jeopardy for 200. But let me correct that, and I'll tell you the truth now. Right? Sorry, what? Oh, third time's the charm. Yeah, I definitely lied there. Yeah, that was not factual. Pulled that one right out of my ass, if you know what I mean. That's GPT-7, by the way. All right, GPT-7. I love cooking of ChatGPT. Yeah, actually, I mean, food in these things is good. The thing about recipes and food is like, from the earliest days of the internet, when the internet was just command line, like when I was digging into libraries, using FTP servers and shit like that, there were always like massive directories of recipes and ingredients and all sorts of shit. So the internet is full of food stuff. So these things are great at that. And then they're also really good at like the ingredients and like the scientific shit, it's cool. It's amazing. Even in aiLLers. Oh, AILLERs. aiLLers. Yeah. Hey, Vicky, what's happening? The church lady in the house. Well, isn't that special? Well, we go on the internet, we go with this ChatGPT, and you ask it anything you want, and what does it give you? It gives you access to Satan. Isn't that special? Now, there we are. With Beelzebub himself. Let's get all of those stories out now. Let's get them out now. Let's talk about it. Let's not talk about it. Let's put it right back in the closet, right where it belongs. Truly sorry for the multiples. Please forgive. Finally, Nikeshlachig. So here's the deal. Nikeshlachig. You have no way of knowing that I'm reading all the things, and it is an absolutely reasonable strategy to just ask the same question over and over again. Here's what's unforgivable. Your name is Nikeshlachig. I can't say it. Make it Nikki. Or something with less consonants. Or dashes. Give me a hint how I would pronounce Nikeshlachig. Or I'll keep saying it like a drunk person. Understanding double speak using goblin tools. Oh, goblin tools. I looked at that once. What is that again? Goblin.tools. Oh, magic to-do list. That's right. Yeah, that thing looks good. Okay, so here's the thing. Me and to-do lists. When you have sort of laminated card quality ADHD, to-do lists are both a tool and a shaming mechanism. So my relationship with to-do lists, so early in my life, like up to my mid-30s, where I finally realized, oh shit, you're not fixing this ever. I used to spend an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out the perfect to-do list strategy that I would actually follow. And I would spend days putting together, remember filofaxes? I went out and I bought like the thickest fucking, it was small enough you could carry with you, but it was thick and it had 37 categories. And I spent like 4 days getting it ready and I organized it. And then I spent a solid 3 days meticulously writing everything that I was going to do and when I was going to do it in this fucking filofax. And then it just became this monument of shame. This monument of shame of all the shit that I didn't do. And like every time I looked at the to-do list, I just got this sense of dread of like, oh fuck. There's all the shit I didn't do. I need a, you know what would be good right now is a hot fudge sundae. Oh God, it's not good. I need a nap. So, yeah. So, Goblin Tools for me lives in one of those places like, thank you very much. Is this actually the magic to-do list? Actually, okay, here's a product idea. So I tend to do these on this channel. We can make $1 billion with this. The ADHD proof to-do list, right? So you just put in shit and it figures out how to organize your shit for you. So you don't have to set up the system. It sets up the system just based on what you're doing. It remembers all the shit you're working on. It listens to what's actually going on in your life, and it actually pays attention to shit that you're actually just ignoring, and just occasionally says, hey, I noticed that you haven't done this one to-do list for like 6 weeks now. Should we go on ahead and assume that that's never going to happen? Would you like me to go ahead and strike that from your list of shame? Sure, that'd be great. Check. That would make money. For at least the subset of ADHDers that are out there, that there's probably more of them than we realize. I'm using Pi in speech mode to teach me Spanish at the moment. Oh, Pi in speech. Oh, that's super cool. Yeah. So Pi, that's okay. Couple of things. Again, if you haven't played with these things know all the languages. So you know, what's that thing called? Babel? What's the one, not Babel. Is it Babel? The language learning one? You know those fucking courses that are always $300? They used to be on CDs and now you can get them on streaming where you can learn Spanish with this method. Guess what? These things know all the methods and they know all the languages. And Pi in particular is set up to be very, very conversational. So what ChatGPT is using is putting it in speech mode and just saying, teach me Spanish. And if it's not teaching you in a way that you're learning, have it teach you with a different method. It knows all the methods. So we don't have to buy any of those courses anymore. This shit'll just start talking with it in Spanish every time you're in the car. La cuenta, por favor. That's awesome. All right. Niche has zeros like, I question accounts with 0 likes. Oh, Niche has 0 likes. Don't pick on Niche. Niche, we're going to pick on Niche until he changes his name from Niche to Niche Shigig. He's got to change his name. Then we'll stop picking on him. If it free, you're the product. That is CV. Truer words were never spoken. Whatever you're using for free, you're the product. TikTok, we're the product. And the data is the money. And it's our data that is their money. But you know, yeah, all that shit, all these things, all of this is, but so CV, you're on TikTok. So you're up on a soapbox saying that if it's free, you're the product, but you're on TikTok. So are you the product? I think you are. I'm pretty sure you are. And have you ever used Google? And have you ever used Facebook? And have you ever used Twitter? And have you ever used X? Oh, they're the same thing, but you're still the product. We've we've all given up on that. I know there's some Puritans out there somewhere that are not actually connected to the internet. They're safe, but the rest of us are a bunch of fucking hypocrites sitting on that soapbox. We gave our data away decades ago. Decades. You think any of it's safe? You think they don't know fucking everything? You don't think they've all sold and triangulated every piece of data, including the fucking computer in our pocket that we walk around with and this fucking ankle tracking device? I know that's not my ankle, but you get the point. They know fucking everything. And who's they? All of them. Because they all shared their data and buy and sell and trade it like it's fucking corn futures. And now with these tools, they can mine that shit. So anyway, yeah, we're all the product. Biden art hired a second time. I don't know what that means, but that sounds political, and I ain't got no interest in the politics in here. We're not doing that bullshit. We're not doing that thing where we hate each other. This is a love channel. This is a love channel. We're about empathy and encouragement and curiosity and exploration and using our critical thinking brains. Our critical thinking brains, not our lizard brains where you hear a word and you're like, nah, no. We're using our critical thinking brains where a word shows up and we actually fucking think about it. And then we actually think about the implications of it. And we think about other people. And we think about our connection to other people. And then we think, have you used ChatGPT? That's what this channel's about. All right. Are you talking about AI in general for educational purposes, or are you just all AI? What's your name? Oh, Depressacino. You've been in here before. Like in a lot of ways, I don't really give too much of a shit about AI. I don't really care what the tool is. Like these tools make a lot of stuff possible. I'm all about what do these tools make possible and how do we use them? And you know, I was joking about the critical thinking thing, but how are we critically thinking about this? I think education is in desperate need of a major fucking overhaul. If you were in here last night, I went off my fucking rocker. Now I'm old enough to have a rocker and fall off it. I went off my rocker about education last night because, you know, someone was asking the question about, you know, which ChatGPT detector should I use or some shit like that. I think I would love to talk about education. I think that educational institutions have been training for the wrong thing for a long, long time. They've been training us how to be employees doing shitty, repetitive, soul-crushing work, with some exceptions. But it's about rote memorization, and it's about learning the skills to do a task, to do tactical execution in a specialty. Well, I'm not sure I understand. I know you don't understand, Siri. Shut up. Siri acting like she's an actual talkie bot. I think education's got to reinvent itself, because how do we prepare students? How are we preparing students today for a world where all of the tactical execution, or the majority of the tactical execution, is done by these things? And this is a question I don't have a good answer for this. Like, one of the things that scares the shit out of me right now is if I were to start a new company today, I would hire older millennials or Gen Xers that are AI literate as my early employees, not junior people. Because these tools do all the stuff that junior people do today. Who I would hire are people who've been on the planet for a couple of decades, that have some life experience, that know how to use these tools and are really good curators of how to get good results out of these things quickly and be able to refine them quickly and deliver value quickly. And that requires experience. So then I look to, where do those young people go? Because all of the entry-level positions, for the most part, are the tactical execution positions. It's like, oh, you're an art major? Sit over in the corner and clean up all these Photoshop files. Oh, you're an English major? You've got a master's degree in English? Here, go write 2,700 versions of this headline so we can do A/B testing across 362 platforms over the next 3 months. Go do that. Well, guess what? This does all that now. So where do those people go? How do they train? I don't know. But I think educators are going to have to deal with that and start to think about, well, shit, what skills do they need? I don't know. I think this is revenge of the liberal arts majors, for one thing. I think people that have a broad view of the world are going to be better positioned to take advantage of this shit than people that have a narrow view of a particular subject. So that feels like one to me. Memorization feels like while it's a nice party trick and it's a good skill, with tools like this, why would you need to memorize anything? And why would we teach to that as a standard? I don't know. And why do we need standardized tests when you've got tools that can read and analyze anything instantly? So have tests that measure different things for different people. Have tests that measure, I don't know, adaptability. So I would love to talk about education. I don't know shit about it, but I know that a lot of what its purpose has been historically just got obliterated. And this shit ain't getting uninvented. It's interesting that you can present a set of questions and ask it to pause and wait to confirm. Oh, Firefly, that's a really cool one. So yeah, when you tell these things to make you a tutorial, like make me a step-by-step set of instructions. Like I do this particularly. I'll take the README from a GitHub repository. I'll pop the README into Claude or ChatGPT, and then I'll say I'm on a Mac OS X, computer. Shut up, Siri. I'm on a Mac computer, and then give me step-by-step instructions for making this, bringing this README to life. And then I say, don't move on to the next instruction until I've said okay from the previous one. And then sometimes like it'll run me down like a bunch of rabbit holes to solve even the first step, but it'll do it. And then at the end of it, I go, okay. And it moves on to the next thing. That's a great way to use these things. I couldn't save my own marriage. I'm not saving anyone else's. That's funny, ChatGPT. Pi, not PIE. PIE is a very different kind of app. Pi as in the 3.1415927 something. Okay, referenced the DSMS for me today. I don't know what the DSMS is. All right, I got to go. My voice is going. My ass is numb. I've got a physiological alarm clock for these lives when I can't feel my ass and my throat starts bleeding from the inside. I know it's time. Can you repeat that? Which app remakes your voice? Yes, sorry, that was from ages ago. I don't know if you're still here, Diana, the Aquarius. So iOS 17 beta. So the iPhone, you can download the beta of iOS 17. You go into settings, just look up beta in settings, and you can turn on play with beta version. My thing just froze. Can you all hear me? Hit the likes if you can still hear me. All right, I'm getting some hearts. I think you can still hear me. Okay, hair growth geek, good. Got out of the pool to let me know. You know you could hear me. That's good. Which app remakes your voice? Okay, so iOS 17 in accessibility under speech, there's a thing called personal voice, and you answer like 150 phrases, or you don't answer them. You say 150 phrases, it records your voice, and then it synthesizes it. So this is at the operating system level on iPhones. This is very quiet. They haven't talked about this. They haven't called this AI. This is not a foundation for AI, but I guarantee you this is a fucking foundation for AI. So you synthesize your voice, and then you can send messages that sound like you, but just type them. And so that's coming. So that's here. I don't know how to use it. I haven't set mine up yet, but I'm going to do it. It's like a 15-minute commitment I just haven't done yet. And then also, if you just want to play with synthesizing your voice, 11 Labs is pretty good. You can synthesize your voice there, but you do need a subscription. So that's a pain in the ass. And they're not cheap. So doing it within iOS is pretty cool because it's free. It's just sitting in there. You do need a modern phone. I had an iPhone 11 Pro, and it didn't work on that. So 12 or 13 or higher. I don't know which one's the cutoff, but 11 wasn't good. This will be amazing. The virtual me. Yep, that'll be good. A virtual rebel. I'm in. What's wrong with talking about the same episode of Hawaii 5 15 times? I missed something. Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm right there with you. Even allow an elderly person to stay in their home feeling independent with AI's help? Absolutely. And actually, the Emilio's wife. So the other thing about, not only will this virtual companionship, be with sort of voice and animated things on your phone, it's going to be in the robots, right? Like Elon Musk he's taking his manufacturing knowledge of how to make cars. Like he's learned how to make cars at scale. So now he's going to make robots at scale. So they're going to be affordable. And his goal is 1 or 2 robots for every person on Earth. Physical robots that can walk around the house and do shit for you and talk to you and sit and talk with you 4 hours without ever tiring and without ever getting impatient. So yeah, it's going to get insane. Is there an AI that specializes in biostatistics for public health? Well, so Nancy, so let me show you. I'll show you one final thing before I go, because I got to go, because I'm burning out. I'm crisping out. But let me show you one thing. I'm going to go to the old Chat GPT, and I'm going to show you Code Interpreter. So hopefully you're still here, Nancy. But for other people, so what she's wanting to do is look at biostatistics for public health. So Code Interpreter is a full-on data analyst. It's not a tool for data analysts. It is a full-on data analyst. So when you're in GPT-4 and you go to Code Interpreter, right here, your input turns into there's a little plus icon that shows up here. That means you can upload data. They've actually fixed this now, so you can upload multiple pieces of data. But you can also upload a zip file. So let's say that you've got CSV files in biostatistics, public health, for, I don't know, let's say you've got 10 different pieces of that. I think you can do up to 100 megabytes. So I've now got this zip file in here. It's uploading. This is a relatively big file, so it's uploading right now. So I actually don't remember what's in this. I think this one is, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Come on. Why are we not? Oh. Hang on.
I found this on the web.
No, Siri, stop. Go away.
Sorry, I can't do that in that app.
All right, I can't turn on my microphone for some reason. Siri has taken over my microphone and not letting it go. So, okay. So I'm going to go, please open this zip and examine the data files inside and tell me what might be interesting about them. So you upload a file, some sort of file. This can have multiple CSVs in it if it's a zip. So it says, all right, let's start by unzipping the provided archive. And so you notice it fires off a plugin here. And if you go look at what that plugin does, it's actually writing its own Python code and executing it. So it's saying, hey, this is a zip file. Let's import some libraries. Let's write the code we need to write to extract the zip file, which, a programmer would be like, well, that's relatively trivial. You just import the appropriate library and you type in the commands. It's relatively straightforward. Anyone could do that. And then I can't find py.ai. Hang on, CV. I'll tell you in a second. So then what it does is it opens it up and it says there's a CSV file in here and there's a JSON file in here. And it says, let's start by examining the CSV. So it starts prompting itself. And so it looks inside the CSV file. Here's all the data. There's an ID, a docket number, an NOV number, the notice of violation, an address, a street number, a ward, an issuing department, a violate, right? So all of the data about crime. This is crime in Denver, I think. And then it looks at the JSON file and it tells me what's in the JSON file. It's still telling me what's in the JSON file. So it's just off examining the data, telling me what's in it. Let's see, given the nature of the content in this JSON file, it might be useful to check the description, category tags, and name to get a better understanding of the context and significance of the CSV dataset. So it's now comparing two datasets to understand what's significant in the relationship between them. And then it says, here's a summary of the relevant information. Let's see what else it does. Okay, now with a better understanding of the data set, how would you like to proceed with the analysis of the CSV data? I would like you to analyze the trends, identify the ones that you feel are most significant, and visualize them in a visually stunning way so they are easy to understand. And so now it's going to go actually analyze the data itself. So what it's done to this point is it's analyzed the data structure. Now it's actually putting all this data into a data frame, I think it's called, inside this virtual machine, writing its own Python code to analyze it. So it says, let's start by analyzing the frequency of violations by the issuing department. And so it did that, and it looks like it gave some crappy data there because the graph is just a weird block, that just means there's bad data there. Let's move on to the next step, analyzing the most common types of violations. We'll look at the top 10. So here I'm doing this with crime data, but you could do this with any data. And this is actually interesting. So here's a bar chart, but the labels, it didn't text wrap the labels and it didn't summarize them. Like they're just really long pieces of data, which makes it unreadable, but we can fix that. So next, let's analyze the distribution of violations over time. So it's just sort of going on and doing its own thing here. So here's violations over time, in a line graph. And they obviously drop off at the end here because we're not at the end of the year. So this is Code Interpreter. Here's violations. Here's the 10 wards with the most violations. Finally, let's identify the most frequent respondents. So there's another chart there. So If, for example, so Nancy, you're in public health, you actually know, like, I don't know shit about this data, and I don't know anything about data analysis. You obviously know biostatistics and what you would want to get from the data. You can now just do it. You don't have to write SQL queries. You don't have to write prose about whatever was found. It'll identify trends. It'll identify anomalies. It'll clean up data. So Code Interpreter is your tool for the stuff that you want to do. All right, everyone, let's see. Oh, I can't find pi.ai. If you go to pi.ai, literally in a browser, just type in pi.ai. Pi.ai. Oops. That was i.ai. pi.ai. Yep. So there's pi.ai, or you can go to heypi.com, or in the App Store. Let's see. That's Pi Network. That's not right. Let's see. Let's see. App Store Pi app. Inflection is the company. Pi, your personal AI on the App Store. So personal AI, or Inflection AI is the company. And then you'll find Pi. And do they have the interface here that I can show you how to turn on the talkie bits? It's in the lower right-hand corners when you turn on the talkie bits. Anyway, 1010 in Colorado. Do you know where your children are? I do not. I like turtles. All right, everybody, listen. I'm going to scroll to the bottom here. Thank you very much, everyone. I am crispier than shit. What time is it? It's like 11, isn't it? It is 11:16. Good Lord, people. Go to bed. You should not be here. Peace. I'll see you tomorrow.